Well, all right. Sergeant De Leon here, retired 2014 medically, and I'm advocating for myself. I'm looking for some help from everybody else. I've been battling this thing for since 2010. I became stateside 2010. One tour Iraq, sustained several injuries. Two of them being head injury. Um, I'm being currently being medically neglected through the Veterans Health Administration. Um, they are controlling the narrative in full, both by the VA, the federal agency, and outside the VA. So, full control. I'm unable to properly be diagnosed with the TBI, in which I have currently have about 85 to 90% fine motor dysfunction. As you can see, part of my face is not working as though I had a stroke. Well, that's not the case. I didn't have a stroke. I had a tooth pulled, and because of my central nervous system dysfunction, I lost part of the fine motor function. And so that's been the ongoing thing since 2010 with my entire body. I had back surgery about 2011. That initiated the education I needed to know that I had head injury, and everything since then has been downhill since then. If I get surgery or I get injured, my central nervous system that is dysfunctional gets rid of that body function immediately. Well, it's not immediate, but sometimes it takes a week or two for it to entirely my body function of that area to go away. So the VA has controlled the narrative, and they do not want to admit that they messed up in the beginning to properly follow standard operating procedures to give me a TBI. So I've been battling it. I'm not receiving any medical care, have not received any medical care for a TBI. Instead, I'm being treated for high blood pressure and uh, uh, and uh, 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 I'm getting all caught up now with the TBI. Post traumatic stress disorder. So, with that being said, I'm looking for somewhat of an independent person to want to do video with me and expose the medical neglect through the VA. And I'll be more than happy to, when all this is resolved, to give that person some credit, and everyone else that wants to join in to help a veteran proceed to start receiving the proper medical care departmentalized through the VA, and any benefits that are associated with it. Not share that, but I'd be happy to pay somebody to help me expose, create a video, and do some research to help me win this case with the VA. I think it's a slam dunk. I'm trying to get some other people to help me out. It's expensive to try to get an attorney to help you with getting some stuff resolved. But I do have a case. There's a lot of detail in what's going on with my situation, but it can all be resolved. All these ducks can be put in a row, absolutely, and it's just a matter of somebody willing to help me out. Um, so, with that being said, my contact is on this video, I suppose, but if not, it's Marco.a, the Alpha De Leon, Marco.a De Leon, the number one at gmail.com, or my phone number is 520-808-8143. I am here in good Arizona, Oro Valley, Arizona. That is, it's just been nice here. It's been swell and wonderful, I tell you. The weather has been exactly what you guys want. It's cool, but it's warm during the day. Um, It does get about 100 in hell here, and other than that, it's been really nice and sweet. Um, it's definitely dog weather. You could take your dog out for a walk, running, all sorts of stuff. I love the desert. That's just me. Some people don't, but I do. Oh man, I just I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. This is the place. I love mountains. I don't like flat areas. I don't like bushy tree areas. Like I graduated from basic training in the Army with South Carolina. That is what is it? The base there. My basic training was Fort Jackson. Yeah, I'm a Native American. All right, and I like seeing the enemy come. I don't like having this guerrilla warfare stuff, where I can't see nothing and trees just bother me. I love trees. I love visiting them. I love being in them, but I like mountains. I like being on a high top. I like characteristic of the land. Okay, I love the mountains. I'm a mountain man. That's right. So, and I am a man. All right. There's no confusion there. I know what a woman is and I know what a man is. It's just absurd that we have to be discussing some trivial things like that. Right. Yesterday I had a pretty good video. I had some feedback on my video. But what I'm trying to do is create these videos I'm doing into a podcast sort of thing so I could react to people's and interview some people's and that sort of thing. But I'm trying to discuss my advocacy for myself because, see, I believe that since I'm in this situation, it's just not an isolated situation. I had, this is has been a documented situation, I think, throughout veteran, coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan and even Vietnam, and my situation isn't just isolated. This is a situation I'd like to expose and get more veterans on board with it. Sometimes you don't know you're being held hostage in purgatory with all your benefits and stuff until somebody educates you and tells you, hey, you know what? This is what's going on with your case. This is what's going on with my case. So I'd like to use my case as an example of, being medically neglected through the VA and not being awarded, certain benefits and medical treatment through the VA. So, I'm not doing this just for myself. I'm doing this for everyone else. And the time I have spent, you guys, okay, the time that I have spent fighting the VA, okay, I'm like special forces in this matter of fighting the VA. My case is I'm like a special forces person. I'm not saying I'm special forces in the army. I was not. I was an engineer in the army. I'm saying my situation is like I'm like a special forces attacking this matter that I'm not being cared for properly by the VA. I mean, I'm giving it all my attention. In that sense, you know, the Army and the VA just wasting my time. They could be having me working for them in the Army or the VA attacking the enemy. With all the time that I've been putting in, I could be doing better than just fighting the VA and the military, right? And that's my point. What does it take? Does it take somebody who is specially forced inclined to not give up? Does it take somebody who's just persistent? Does it take somebody who just stubborn? With all this time I'm wasting fighting the VA to give me my TBI, my medical care, I could be fighting the enemy. But instead I gotta fight the VA who has been stubborn, not giving me what is true, which is the TBI, right? I've been fighting it, you guys. It seems like a very simple thing, but it has not been. Once the VA has put themselves in a position where they can't go back on their word, they can't go back on their decisions medically, then that's where I come in. Okay. And I'm just saying that there's a lot of folk like me. I'm putting all this time. I mean, hours and hours and hours and days and years fighting the VA to get me exactly what they need to be doing with me. And all this time I could be, fighting the enemy. I could be, they could throw me in the VA to help me to, help them do stuff with veterans. I could be rehired to work with the Border Patrol, in Homeland Security with the Army. I could be doing all sorts of stuff. That's who I am. But instead, I'm fighting them, which is absurd. So you guys help me out. I need all the help I can get. Right now, I need an independent person to help me with fighting the VA, an independent journalist type person. That's what I need. I'll be willing to pay something to create videos and you know help me pass on this information to the people it needs to be passed on to. I've been writing news outlets like Fox News and Newsmax. I'm kind of a right wing kind of guy, in which this is not uh, uh, um, solely just a right wing issue. This is Democrats and everybody should be involved in what's going on with me. It's the right thing to do. So yesterday's video was pretty good. What I'm trying to do is advocate for myself and then go into something I'm interested in, which is having an opinion about what's going on in our society, right? Things that are bothering people. You know, I have a problem with it also. But I've been too damn busy trying to convince the VA that they haven't been following their proper procedures to give me a TBI. It's been absurd. But yesterday's video was pretty good. I was talking about African American issues, and how they're bitching and complaining about being enslaved by the United States of America. Right? That's absurd, you guys. And I'm trying to cover like a topic each time I do a video, a different topic. But I had some pretty good feedback yesterday from it. I want to extend on it a little bit and then move on, right? Because there's only so much you can do, folks. There's only so much you can do to help, right? And I'll start off with this. If if um if in your mind you think you could change somebody, you're wrong. Okay? No way in hell will you ever be able to change somebody. Okay, now I know some of y'all thinking, well, that's not true. Well, it is true. Okay, I learned along the way of just being 54 years old in my experience in life that you cannot change a person. Okay, the way it happens is like this: people don't change, they learn. Okay, and that's the God's truth about us. We don't change people. We learn how to be different. We learn how to do better for ourselves. That's what happens. You know, it's simple. If you're a wife beating man, you know, you learn how to not do that. You don't change. You're the same person. You know, but it may take a few knocks on the head. Be put in prison for beating on your spouse. That you're learning that it's the same every time. If I beat on my spouse, I'm going to go to prison. And the more I do it, the more I'm going to spend time away from learning to not do it, right? Which you shouldn't be doing in the first place. But that's the way we are, folks. We learn. We don't change, people. You just put on a different pair of pants. I used to tell my wife, hey, I know some, my sister, I was talking about my sister one time and I said, yeah, and I won't point, I got two sisters. I won't say their name because they could be all pissed off at me. But um, people don't change. All they do is put on a new dress, and be this other person. You can't change people, folks. You put on a new pair of pants, you put on a new hat. That's all you do. All right. So that's the key to us. All right. Nobody changes, people. No one. They learn. You learn, learn, learn. That's why it's important when you're young that you teach them the right things, and that's where a lot of people are having a problem these days is with being out of control because when you're a parent, what's happening today is a big issue. Kids are being taught certain things that parents don't agree with and give them the right so that they should be concerned. And I remember, and I'm 54 years old. I know some of y'all remember too. Growing up under being taught in elementary. In elementary, people, I remember in elementary, we couldn't do anything. A teacher could not do anything without a parent's permission. Is that true? That's the way I remember it. So, unless that was a farce, unless that was not real, I believe it was real. It was the law. There were policies and procedures they needed to follow, or they get booted, right? That was to protect the general public. That was to protect um, and help parents know that your kid is being properly treated and educated, right? That's what it was. So I don't know where the society these days come up by saying, hey, we're going to take control of your kid because you don't have the authority when your kids are in school to tell us teachers what to do. That's laughable, man. I mean, I don't know where the law changed, folk. I don't know where it changed, but I'd like to know the date of where the law changed to tell parents that they are no longer in charge of their kid. No, still in charge of your kid. That was the last I remember. So I want to know the date. Okay, I want to know the time and the date to the second when that law changed. It was a law, and it is a law that parents are in charge of their kids, period. No matter if they're here, no matter if they're there, no matter if they're in school, if they're not in school. Somebody has to be in charge of kids, and it's not the teacher. There's a lot of liability, people. There's a lot of liability that says if you hand over your rights to somebody you don't know, or just somebody in general, like it transitions, like when your kid, you're telling me, when your kid leaves your house, that there's a transition to say that wherever that kid ends up and an adult is in charge, or maybe not an adult, just somebody, that you have relinquished your rights to that person or peoples. That's what you're telling me? I don't know. I don't know when the country had changed to Cuba. I don't know when we became a dictatorship. Somebody please help me understand when that law changed. Because as far as I'm concerned, that law has not changed. Parents are ultimately in control of your own child, period. It's been like that since uh, forever, right? It's a common fundamental right that parents and people who have children have with that child. And mainly it's like that because you are ultimately, as a parent or a caregiver, or as a next of kin, or what do they call it, the when you are emancipated, you give the right to a cousin or an aunt or somebody to take care of you. You are ultimately in charge of that person, because one, the law states if you are underage, you cannot make decisions on your own. Excuse me for that. That's the way it is, folks. So where did that law change? Somebody please give me a date and time and tell me when that law changed. I want to know. I want to know the date, and I want to know the time it changed. Okay? And once you give me that time and date, then I want to be able to address it. But right now, it seems like no one's asking the question. I see all these parents getting up and going to schools and saying, hey, you can't teach my kid about sexual behaviors with gay or transvestites, or having to, anything sexual, anything, right? They're having to get up and argue to the school board, school supervisors, what have you, stating that their kids are being taught things that have just transitioned into not being able to ask for permission from parents. I don't know when that has happened, people, but they have to start asking the question, when did that law, rule, cause, whatever you want to call it, change? When did it change? I want to know the date and time. Okay, because it's a serious matter. All right, it just doesn't encompass your kids being taught sexual things. It encompasses the law of what another person can do to an underage individual. Period. Because if that's the case, then there's a whole slew of things that you can do to an underage person. Which one, you can sexually traffic a minor without being accused of doing it. You can give alcohol to a kid. You could uh, do all sorts of things. So when did the law change? It just doesn't apply to teaching your kids, and having inappropriate books in the library, or having teachers, teaching Black History Month and telling white kids that they should feel sorry for enslaving Black people, and they need to relinquish all their rights to Black people. When did the law change? I want to know the date and time. Okay, I find it very um uh one very in your face, humiliating that someone would take on that action and say, we're going to do what we want to do, and we don't need your permission to do it. Wait a minute. Did I just wake up? Okay. We need to end this battle by by asking that fundamental question. Okay, I have a question, and I don't need to be up in front of the school board. I need to talk to somebody in charge, like the school, the education, um, political person in charge of each state. I have a question. Yeah. When did the law change to say that a parent or anybody in charge of a minor, when did that law change? Saying that we don't need permission anymore for someone to take control of a minor, much less just being in control of somebody, period. Um, when you guys answer that question, then all this shit that we're going through is just academic. You know, it's absurd, people. As I said, you cannot change a person. You cannot control another person. A person has to learn. We learn, we don't change. And that's why we have laws and rules and clauses and all this stuff. So that way we can protect ourselves, right? And we shouldn't have to fight over that. So that's my take on that situation. All right. Somebody please give me the time and date of when the law changed that anyone could control and take control and have authority over another person that's a minor, much less just a person, period. I want to know the date and time. Okay. And when you produce that document, I want to know who signed it. I want to know how Congress passed it. I want to know everything about it if it's true. And I know damn well it's not true, because that would be an impossible situation presented to the American people. I don't even think that people in a dictatorship do that, right? Like, hey, you have full control of my child. I mean, I think it's naturally done that way. The government has control of everything, but I think at a certain point, ultimately, you are in charge of your child. You are in charge of that person who is underage. You are in charge of that, being a caregiver. You are in charge and ultimately in charge of everything that that person does if they are not allowed to do it themselves. Period. So why are we arguing about it? I don't know. Something to do? I would just give people something to do in America. We have enough problems, people. You know, we should be fighting the enemy right now. We have a big problem with China. We have a big problem with Russia. We have a big problem with countries that we don't even know we're having problems with. We should be focused on that. We should be focused on each other, trying to help each other say, hey, how are we going to solve these problems with, you know, having another country help us with product and medication and all these issues? How do we help each other? You know, farming, food, and all this shit. That's important, people. That's more important than trying to figure out when the date changed that we relinquished our authority to someone else to take care of our kids or our minors. I think that's completely absurd. And like I said, you have to demand when it was that time that it happened. When was it? Sorry, son of a bitches. It did not happen, people. It never happened, and it won't happen, not ever. Okay, because the liability is that when you have a kid, that's your kid, and you're responsible for that kid as a minor, no matter what, right? And nobody has the authority to take that away from you. Not in America. So please ask the right questions, people. All right. So that's my take on minority issues. Um, I had a post yesterday where I was talking about African American issues, and I got some good feedback on that. Um, there's a lot of African Americans who it's a hard battle. It's a hard battle for them um, to say, look, I completely understand that, there's no such thing as reparations. There's no such thing as I'm special and you guys need to bow down to us. There's no such thing as, hey, the white man is the devil. There's no such thing as, hey, you know what? Because of this, you guys owe us that. There's no such thing. Okay. It's education. Again, it's education. We learn how to deal with our problems. We learn how to deal with our mistakes. We learn how to deal with things that, we did in the beginning that we have no control over because it's historical. All right. If you can't understand that building a nation, listen, if you don't understand today that things that we did historically are exactly that. They're historical. All right. There's no, well, since you did that and you guys were building a nation, you should have known that it was wrong to do A, B, and C. No, we were building a nation. We were trying to just survive. Right. If you can't understand that, then wherever it is that you're from, while we were built, while the nation was being built, you need to go back to that country. Okay. Because it's absurd to say, you yelled, I'm going to give you an example. You yelled at me back in 1705 and I want to sue you now. That's absurd, people. It's just absurd. There was a lot of things that the people at that time had to do to survive and build this nation. Do you believe me? There's a lot of things that we could not see. We didn't have a crystal ball to say, it was wrong to enslave black people. You don't know all the details of what went on with that. And even if you did, what were you going to do? Listen, if you're an African American these days and you're supporting the notion that you deserve some sort of reparation because it was wrong to enslave another person, and you want the people now today to feel guilty and pay you for something that they had no control over. There's a lot of ways to see this, people. Okay. And you think that because that's the fact and your race could do better than what it is now? I don't know how to educate you, man. It's out of bounds for educational purposes. If you cannot understand, okay, that there's no way to go back and correct that just to satisfy your race, your feelings, your injustice, as you would want to call it today, it's completely wrong. You can't do it. Native Americans were almost abolished from the earth. I don't know if that was the right word. Native Americans were just about wiped off the face of the planet. Okay. We can't go back. What was done is historical. It was building a nation. You think it was easy to build a nation? Right? What you know now can't be applied to then. We were building the United States of America, people. What had to be done was done, and we move on from it. There's no reparations. All we can do is honor the historical fact that that's what has happened and move on from it, right? So, eh, if you can't accept that and you think that you could do better, well, then more power to you. Okay. African Americans, if you guys think you could do better than the white man did while building this nation, then you should go back to Africa and see how you could do it better at that time, right? You can't do it. You guys think you could have done better? Absolutely not. You guys were no race was in a position like the race that was building the nation at the time was. The white people, if it wasn't for white people, if it wasn't for, and when I say white people, I mean all races of white people, it was a perfect storm of building America at the time. Okay? Now, if you're hurt by the fact that you were enslaved, then that's your problem. If you're hurt by the fact that you were almost knocked off the face of the earth, and this is Native Americans, then that's your problem. All right? We have to learn how to move forward. Okay, there's no like forget about it. No, you have to learn that that was a fact at that time. You think that Native Americans would have did better if they would have been like somebody just paused history and said, okay, this is what's going to happen. Native Americans, do you think that you can do better than the white people who are trying to uh, um, um, settle this land and everything in it and move forward with building the United States of? You guys think that you could do better? Hell no. You were in no position to even do better. The white folk were coming from all sorts of areas of the world to build this nation, and they sacrificed to do it. You think that was easy? You think it was remotely easy? You think they wanted to do it? You think that they wanted to give up part of their heritage to build a nation? They had no idea what they were doing. But yet, today, we are blaming the white people, right? We're blaming the white people for not doing it the way, for not doing it the way they think it should have been done, or given an opportunity to take part in it. That's completely absurd, people. If you think that way, let's put it this way. If you think that way today and you're educated, you need to turn in that paper that you got awarded as far as education and start over. You wasted your money. If you think that way today and you're not educated, then you need to educate yourself and educate other people to help them in your race to say, man, are we all on the same page? Because we need to move forward with it. We need to educate each other and say, look, if you're not square with history, you need to be square. You need to get on that. Stop bitching, moaning, and complaining. That's the bottom line, people. I'm not bitching, moaning, complaining. I have all sorts of race in me. I have Black Irish. I'm Native American. And I'm telling my Native American brothers and sisters, you need to catch up to the times. You need to stop bitching and complaining and worried about controlling your own government to say that you could do better than the white man who created the United States of America and sacrificed blood to do it. You think you could do better? You can't do better. Time has already passed, and this is what we got. And we've been dealt a hand to make it better, to make it stronger, right? To fortify that, hey, look, and what may, the way it was done had to be done that way. There's no excuse for it. That's the way it was. What are you going to do? You're going to educate people, and we're going to educate our brothers and sisters to say, it should have been done this way. You can't do that. The way it should have been done was this, we have to now fight the fact that we were shortchanged. That's a bunch of bullshit. Can't do it, people. We have to start from today. From today. Right? I want to make America better. And I did. I went overseas and fought and lost the function of my legs and arms, got a TBI, right? Got a TBI, and continue to want to do better for where I live. I'm fighting for the fact that, I'm being medically neglected through the VA, not to hurt our country, but to make it stronger. Right? I want to show my state that what's happening to me is wrong. But I'm not doing it to shame them. I'm doing it so that way they can be aware that, hey, look, this is a situation, and we should, the state should take part in correcting the fact or making an example of what not to do in the future. Make it stronger. Right? That's what I'm doing. So, that right there, people, is priceless. That's priceless. You cannot teach that in school. All right. And so, with that being said, it's one hell of a lesson to learn that. Right? It's one hell of a lesson. And if you are being taught other than that, to learn how to deal with that, to learn how to deal with your historical past and make it better instead of bitching about it and saying I'm black or I'm a Native American and we've been robbed of our history, you're completely not helping the future. You're completely in distress of not properly obtaining the education you need to pass it on. Instead, what you're doing is you're making it much more difficult for the next person below you to learn the facts. That's what you're doing. You could be a Democrat and learn the right shit and move on. You could be a Republican. You could be anything as long as you get the correct information. It's your job. It's your duty now to do that. Who's going to do it for you? Are you going to rely on the government to say, hey, if you're black, if you're Irish, if you're a Native American, for that, and not give you the correct information to move forward with? Then you're wrong altogether. If you're going to rely on the government to do that for you, you're wrong right there. The people control the government. All right. And so, I had to learn how to be neutral. I had to learn how to be, um, um, take control of my own education, take control of my own thoughts, and say, that's a good point, right? And so I think we're doing pretty damn well for a nation that um, had to do what we had to do in the beginning, sacrifice. I think we're doing pretty damn well as a nation, and we need to be proud of it, man. We need to stick up for the fact that it took some serious shit to learn how to be who we are today. It took some damn sacrifice, man, and we're still sacrificing, and that's where we need to be. Right now, we have problems that can be easily solved. All right, that can be easily dealt with, but there's always going to be a problem with existence, with a country saying we're going to do it better and control the world than you can do it. That we're always going to have that problem. And we need every single damn person, whether you're black, African, whether you're Native American, whether you're Irish, whether you're Italian, whatever. We need every single damn person that's living in the United States to support the fact that we, the US, has sacrificed enough. I think we have the bead to run the world, right? Because of what we've been through, because of what we sacrificed, because of what we did in history to create the United States of America. I'm a pebble in this matter, right? And I need to I just want to support the fact that we have um, other countries that want to take control of us, our mind, want to blame us for all these things. Well, it ain't gonna happen, people. I love the United States of America. America. I love the fact that you know um, we had a couple of world wars, and that we had to we had to deal with all sorts of things, right? We're the best country on the face of the planet. We have endured a lot, right, to be where we are today. We we uh we're special, right? We got people wanting to come into this country for unknown reasons, but they know this is the place to be. They know it inside. They want to be here. I wonder why, right? That's the way I see it, folk. Um, we um, we have to give a shit, right? We have to give a shit and tell the next generation, hey, look, we have problems, but this is the ultimate reason why we are who we are today. I think so, right? So there's no better place, people, than our home right now, the United States. There's no better place, and there will not ever be. So the problems that you have today are nothing, right? We need to support the fact that people are trying to destroy us, like China. They want China, man. China thinks they could do it better. They think they could control the world better than we can. That's a fact, you know? And until China wants to say, you know what, we are a communist country, but you know what, United States, you guys fucking rule ass. You guys are some badass motherfuckers, right? We'd like to contribute to how you guys can do it better. Instead of trying to say, hey, you know what, we're going to do it better because we believe that, the way we rule our country is better than the way you want to help other people. That's fucking absurd. But that's what China's doing right now. It's too damn bad. We gave China a leg up, and now with what they have learned, they want to beat us down with it. That's what's happening. And that shit ain't right. You know that, right? So the Lord knows, man, that we have sacrificed enough and we still need to sacrifice for what we need to do. That's for damn sure, man. Right? But we can't do that if we're worried about stupid shit like race and uh um and sexuality and stupid shit that's gonna tie us up. Hey, look, if Biden is a stupid dumbass, then so be it. He is. If people don't like Trump because of the way he behaves, then so be it. But what's best is that it gets done, right? If Biden has some good stuff to offer the world, then let's support that part and let's fucking move on. If Trump has more to support than the next person, then let's support that shit and let's move on, right? So that's what this has been all along, and that's what the way it's going to be, right? So I want to live in a place that has security, has financial security, has border security, has medical security, has all this shit, but we can't do it. We can't do it if we're going to be fighting over little shit, right? So, I mean that's a big thing to say, but you know what? That's the truth about it. And um, that's my take on this video post. So I'm just trying to say, man, I try to keep it simple. You know, I try to keep it simple. So here's my dogs out here. They're enjoying me taking them out. I have to exercise these dogs, man. I'm in a wheelchair. Here's my wheelchair. I do the best I can every day while I'm advocating for my own health. And I have to get those dogs' energy out, man, or else they tear up the house. Y'all know how it is, right? Simple shit, right? So I'm out here trying to do the best I can. I'm asking for people's help to help me advocate for my medical condition, which the VA is neglecting to do so. And I haven't been doing too well with that because I haven't had any support to do it. I've been battling it since 2010, since I became stateside, and it's been slow. It's been my medical condition has surpassed my efforts. Okay, I've been getting worse, worse and worse and worse, losing motor function, it going into my organs now. My brain hasn't been all that bad. I mean, with the TBI, I have learned that a TBI does not affect your intellect unless it's so bad that you got like a bullet going through it or a rod or something. It doesn't affect your intellect. And God bless, thank you so much, Lord, for making it that way because I could still fight for myself. Until that day comes where I cannot fight for myself, I want to make sure that all my ducks are in order so that way they don't have to do much. Once I'm on that dead deathbed and I'm like, I can't do much more for myself. I want things to be in line so that way they benefit from my sacrifice, right? And that's what I'm trying to avoid right now is me going into like a seizure or some sort of fucked up situation where I can't help myself and nobody knows what the fuck's going on. And that's a bad situation to be in for anybody. So I'm trying to do this now so that way I have everything in line, getting myself departmentalized into the correct medical help I need through the VA, getting the correct benefits, getting the correct this, getting the correct that. So that way, when something happens to me, if I have a sudden stroke, which I am more than susceptible to with this TBI, that things are being taken care of. My family gets taken care of. They don't have to huss and fuss about, well, what was wrong with him? Well, we don't know. No, that's a bunch of bullshit. So, um, so that's my deal with this post today. Let's move on with helping the United States of America out. Man, I wish I can kick some ass and deal with China. You know what I mean? I wish I could rejoin the military and say, when are we going to go to war with China? Because I'm waiting. China, you want to fight? Let's fucking fight. Let's stop with this bullshit of you know all this wishy washy shit. Oh, you guys want to partner up with Russia? Yeah, okay, cool. We got people too, right? We got people too. Yeah, let's get it done. Right? Let's arm wrestle. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's get it out of the way. This is a bunch of bullshit. We help people out, and this is the way you guys want to treat us? No, no, fuck no. I think we got some things to say, right? So I'll be damned if I'm gonna let some Chinese come over here and tell me what the fuck to do. Nah, fuck that. Uh-uh. No, that shit ain't happening. Nobody. Shit, we done did enough, and we're still doing enough more than we need to be doing to help the rest of the world out. And this is the shit we get in return? Nah, fuck that. Fuck that shit. So, um, so I'm here to tell China you could fuck off. Don't fucking come tell me after we've helped your fucking country out. You guys are like overpopulated and shit. Wanting to control the world now. Talk about we could do it better. Nah, fuck that. You guys owe us. All right. You should be helping us, not fucking Russia. You should be like, hey, United States, thanks for all the shit that you guys have done for us. All the buying power you guys have done, buying our products and educating us on all this, you know, digital shit and giving us the opportunity to, learn all the shit that you guys are doing. If it wasn't for us, if it wasn't for us being the world's biggest market, China wouldn't have a damn thing. They would not have shit. And this is the way they want to treat us. Mexico too. Mexico's right in line with that shit. A bunch of bullshit that Mexico has to be like, well, you guys are taking advantage of us. That's a bunch of bullshit. If it wasn't for us buying the product, if it wasn't for us supporting the fact that we are the biggest operating commerce in the world, you guys wouldn't have a damn thing selling your fucking burritos and shit. Nah, fuck that. Bunch of bullshit. You guys owe us. You know? Tired of these fucking things, man. Tired of people fucking taking advantage of us. We want more money. We're spending all this money helping other people, trillions and trillions of dollars, and nobody wants to step up to fucking take control of that and say, hey, United States, you know what? You guys have really helped the world, and I know you guys have been spending a lot of money. We want to take control of some of that debt. No one has done shit to help us out with that. Can you believe it? No one. That's a bunch of bullshit. China releases a fucking a damn a virus on the world, and they're like, we didn't do nothing. We know no nothing. Bunch of bullshit, man. How about China? You confess this shit and be like, you know what? We fucked up. That's hard to swallow, right? But we want to help, take control of some of your debt and continue this business thing that we got going on with you guys, because you motherfuckers buy a lot of stuff in the United States, you know? And without you guys spending money, no other country's going to do well, right? You guys are the fastest moving fucking commerce on the face of the earth the in in the damn universe. And this is how we get repaid. This is how we're being treated now. Like we're the enemy. Oh man. Unfucking believable. If we were to stop all commerce to the United States, to every part of the of every continent on earth, you know what would happen? Yeah. See, you can't even think that far, can you? A bunch of bullshit is what it is. I tell you, man, if it wasn't for the United States of America, if it wasn't for white people, I know people have a hard time swallowing that, right? If it wasn't for white folks, if it wasn't for the United States of America, the world wouldn't be the way it is today. Period. A bunch of bullshit. Instead, people are blaming white folks for everything that has happened. Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. All right, Dad, I'm gonna spit on your ass. But that's the way I see it, folks. So people need to tally up. Every country on this planet needs to tally up and say, you know what? It's time. United States, you guys have built a nation in a short period of time. You guys have helped every nation in a short period of time, and we want to help. That shit ain't gonna happen. So we have to take, right? That shit ain't easy either. So it's hard to sit here and say fuck all you guys, because we need each other. But you know what? Fuck all you guys. What I'm saying, man. So I'm due for lunch. What you doing, Tazzy T and the Tasmanian Tamanat? Tazzy T and Tammany Tamanat. That's Taz, and then I got Bullet right over here. Good girl, Bull. Yeah, I think I need to take my ass home and get something to eat, man. So peace out, y'all. Thanks for listening. See you guys next time.